liquid chlorinator for just $9.99 a box. Or Taste of the Wild High Prairie grain-free dog food for $49.99 a bag, in-store only. And don't miss out on assorted veggie or herb plants for just $3.99 a piece. Shop these deals and more at RuralKing.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Plenty of sunshine today with temperatures ranging in the upper 80s to low 90s. And we'll see a clear sky tonight with lows in the upper 60s. As we go into Tuesday, sunshine sticks around as well with high temperatures in the low 90s. Wednesday, sunny to partly cloudy skies, highs increasing into the mid to upper 90s. By Thursday, we'll see increasing cloud cover, high temps in the low to upper 90s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Jeff Nordine.
Here's the latest from the College of Central Florida. On Wednesday, May 18th at 10:35 a.m., Dr. Alan Daniff and Dr. Rob Wolf from CF will tell us how members of the community can share their experience by becoming an adjunct instructor at CF. So tune in to hear how rewarding it can be to share your knowledge in the classroom. That's Wednesday, May 18th at 10:35 on Higher Education Happenings on Ocala Talks on WOCA, The Source. This hour of Ocala Talks is brought to you in part by Blockers Furniture. Go see all their specials at blockersfurniture.com.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Monday, it was a busy, terrible weekend if you were looking at gun violence in our country. None more than the shooting that took place in Buffalo, New York over the weekend. A lone gunman, he had a long simmering racial issue. He opened fire at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. The 18-year-old dressed in body armor and armed with a rifle killed 10, wounded 3. They say that racial motivated extremists have taken lives in Charleston, South Carolina, El Paso, Charlottesville, Virginia, and now Buffalo. And they want to say that it's because racism is just as prevalent in the world today as it was in the 1860s or 1850s, pre-slavery. I mean, pre-emancipation. And people say, and this guy said in his manifesto, that it's because of a thought process called the Great Replacement Theory. And you're going to hear this wording a lot, the Great Replacement Theory. And people like Tucker Carlson are getting blamed for it because he provided his own hit theory as what is happening at the border. He called it nothing about what's happening at the border is an accident. It is designed to change that what is happening at the U.S. border is designed to change the racial mix of the country. In political terms, this policy is called the Great Replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries. He said that President Biden's policies with regard to Haitian immigrants have put the U.S. on a suicidal path. So Tucker Carlson said that there is a movement by the Democratic Party to open the borders to people who will be beholden to the U.S. government for allowing them to run from the atrocities and the poverty of the countries they come from. And in doing so, will vote for the Democrats, in essence replacing Americans who have lived here for generations. And that's what he referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. And it has now been turned into, it's really about the European Anglo-whites who are worried they're getting replaced by people of color from lots of different areas. It was originally a talking point that legacy Americans. And when you say the term legacy Americans, that means people who have been here for generations. No matter your skin color, you can be a legacy American and be African American. You can be a legacy American and be Italian. You can be a legacy American and be Mexican. You can be a legacy American and be of Indian descent. But it's been turned into it's just white Europeans that are worried about getting replaced. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that took place in Fort Myers, Florida, about 13 years ago, 15 years ago. How long ago? It's 17 years ago, 2005. I was in line at a Walmart right there off Independence in Fort Myers with my wife at the time. And there was an African-American lady directly in front of us in line. And there was a Mexican family or a Spanish-speaking family. I don't know if they were from Mexico, but a Spanish-speaking family in front of us. And there was a grandmother and grandfather, a mom and dad, and about three children. One of the children was like 14 years old. And this is an example of the great replacement theory that is what originally was meant, not white Anglo-Europeans. And by the way, great replacement theory is a theory that leads to racial disharmony. Okay, let's clear that up. But as the Hispanic, Spanish-speaking family was at the register, not being able to communicate with the cashier who only spoke English, and the 13, 14-year-old Hispanic child had to be the intermediary between her grandparents and mother and father and the cashier, and it was taking a while because of the language barrier and everything. The black lady turned to me, the African-American lady turned to me, and in what can only be construed as racist, because that's what it was, she said, it's people like them that are going to make you and me get along eventually. She was meaning she had been in this country. She was a legacy American. She assumed I was a legacy American. And these invaders in her mind were going to be what drove her and I to get along eventually. Assuming we didn't get along already. I guess she assumed because I was white and she was black, we didn't already get along. It was going to take this Hispanic family taking too much time in the Walmart line to direct us into getting along. That is great replacement theory. She assumed that family who first generation is what it seemed, you don't know, you didn't ask, was going to replace many generations of African Americans and whites to the point where she told me that will make us get along, assuming that we wouldn't get along, which I don't know why she would assume that, but she did. That is great replacement theory. Has nothing to do with white Anglo-Europeans afraid that they're going to lose their place in the world or their place in the United States. Because we've been too big of a melting pot for a very long time. There are a lot of Eastern Europeans. There are a lot of Middle Eastern families. There are a lot of Indian families. There are a lot of Hispanic families, African American families that have been here for many generations. These people flowing over the border unchecked are replacing, or if you believe that in replacement theory, are replacing everybody that's been here as for generations, not just white Anglo-Europeans. So in its context, the way the Democrats are trying to portray it, they're being racist by saying only one area has a problem with this, and it's the white Anglo-Europeans. That's just untrue. Well, Tom, that's the only one shooting up places. Look, it's mental ill people shooting up places. Was this guy racially motivated with a hatred towards African Americans? Sure sounds like it. And he should face as much punishment for being a hate crime and a racially motivated crime as he can. Throw the book at him, put him under the jail. I got no problem with it. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I got no problem with that. Like the kid that went into the black church in South Carolina and shot the folks that he was at a prayer meeting for. The fact that we went through a 2-year trial and he's on death row, no, just be done with him. But you're going to hear a lot about great replacement theory because this young man used that in his manifesto. He also is perpetrating the falsehood that only white Anglo-Europeans feel like they're being replaced. There are a lot of people that have trouble with the people pouring over the border, and it has nothing to do with race. When you talk to, I have very good Puerto Rican friends that, you know, they come over here and they come from the island of Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. It's not a colony, but it's U.S. controlled. It's part of the United States. And they come in and they go, you know, we get treated like we're immigrants and we're not. We're Americans. 100% they are. Yet they get treated like immigrants for some reason. No, they're Americans. You get people that come from Mexico or people that come from Guatemala, people that come from Colombia, and they file the paperwork and they come in this country legally. They're upset with the people that are pouring over the borders illegally. We had to spend $10,000 a person. It took us 3 years. Why did it do that? Why couldn't, what's going on? Where's the fairness there? I have a friend of mine in Atlanta who put on Facebook this weekend how he's tired of what's happening at the border. When he brought his family, he brought his cousins and all. He's here legally. He brought his family and cousins here because he makes very good money now up in Atlanta, college educated, and he brought his family over, but it took him 7 years to get his family that he was going to bring over. It took him 7 years to get them here. And about $300,000. And he's aggravated. He's like, why did I do that? Why did I just put him in a caravan and let him come in through the Mexican border? I'm out almost $300,000. I'm out 7 years of my life when I could have, you know, just let them come across the border. Just waited till now. They could have come across the border. They'd have been here within days. Because once they find out you have a relative in here, they rejoin you with your families. Sometimes no questions asked. We got a bad problem in this country. And the problem is racism. But just who is racist and who's not racist is what's up for discussion. Was this guy that shot up this grocery store in Buffalo racist? 100% he was racist. But so are people that say great replacement theory is only about white people from Anglo-European backgrounds. You're trying to label a group of people because of the color of their skin one way or the other. That, by definition, look it up in Webster, by definition, that's racist. And it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. 622-9622 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. 622-9622 is the number to call. 352-622-9622. You know, for everybody's got an opinion. Boy, when race comes up, though, nobody crickets. Well, it's about time maybe we had a frank discussion about race. And not a discussion that is hyperbole and just out-and-out falsehoods. An actual discussion about racism. But we can't have that because then both sides would show that they both are wrong and there's racist on both sides of the coin. And nobody wants to admit they're racist on both sides. There can only be racist on one side, according to the other side. When in actuality, racism exists and has existed amongst all peoples for as long as time has been around. We'll take a break. We'll be back at this time out. You're listening to Ocala Talks 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Attention passengers for Flight 1370. The plane has been delayed at its departure point and will be at least 2 hours late. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Are you